Welcome everybody to today's third session of the MBA Spotlight series. My name is Sadak. I'm a GMAT Club moderator, and I'll be hosting you today. I have with me Amber and Milagros from Foster, University of Washington. Amber and Milagros, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Sure. Yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you. Let's all congratulate Milagros because she just graduated last week from her MBA. So big congrats to you, and I'm sure she will have valuable feedback and valuable addition to today's session because everything is still fresh there.
Thank you so much.
Before we get started, I just want to mention that today's session is brought to you by Empower Financing. Make sure you guys check that link on the GMAT Club. Perhaps you could benefit from that in the near future once you start thinking about financing your MBA. And one last thing, don't forget to subscribe to the GMAT Club YouTube channel. Don't forget to visit the forum. It's very resourceful. I used it a lot when I was applying for my MBA schools. And also don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button and the like button if you like our today's session. With that, I want to leave the floor for you, Amber.
Great. Thank you so much, Sadak. So hi, everyone. I'm Amber Janke. I'm Director of Admissions here at the Foster School of Business. I work with the full-time MBA program and also the evening MBA program. But of course, we're talking mostly about the full-time MBA program today. You can see a photo here of our beautiful campus, the quad, where the cherry blossoms bloom every spring. So just have to highlight that because I think people may not realize how beautiful the campus is here at the University of Washington. So we're located in Seattle, and we're in Seattle proper. We're not outside of the city. In fact, we're just about 15 minutes from downtown when traffic is good or via light rail. And we not only have a beautiful setting in which to live, we also have many fantastic companies that are right in our backyard. So these are just some of the companies that we've seen our students go to post MBA or intern at, who are just in our backyard, and we have really strong relationships with all of these companies. Milagros will share a little bit later about experiences that students have had at these types of companies, but we really benefit not only from having these companies in our backyard, but being the top MBA program here in Seattle, really the MBA program here. And so we have a ton of access for students. You might be wondering why you should consider Foster and wanted to share some information that you may or may not be aware of. We are a top-ranked public research university here at the University of Washington. We are frequently ranked in the top 20 universities in the world, and we have a fantastic faculty here at the Foster School of Business. Our faculty are not only fantastic teachers, but they are also doing wonderful research, and in the past few years have been ranked anywhere in the top 5 to the top 10 in the types of research that they are doing. So really wonderful opportunities for students to learn from faculty that are really making an impact. Here at Foster, we are very focused on our community. So we're very team driven and collaborative. And I know a lot of MBA programs say that, but we really are truly collaborative. We want everyone to succeed here at Foster, and it's about everyone getting over the finish line. One of the ways that we're able to do that is through our small class size. So our class size is typically somewhere between 90 to about 130 students in size, and it can change a little bit from year to year, but we really want students here who are focused on achieving their goals and success, but also the success of others. And so it's really about making an impact, being innovative, and really pushing for change in the world. So there are a ton of leadership opportunities here at the Foster School of Business. One of the reasons we want to keep a small cohort size is because we want every student here at Foster to have leadership opportunities, and we really expect students to take on leadership opportunities outside of the classroom. We're also very big on hands-on experiential learning, so you have many opportunities to solve real-world problems, and in fact, it's built into the curriculum, so it's part of what you are expected to do here at Foster, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. And then, of course, there's our Seattle location, the fact that we have so many great companies right in our backyard, and that you truly can make an impact here at Foster. So because of all our small class size, we really look to our students to help make the program a better place, and are very big on feedback and growth, and provide a lot of opportunities for students to be able to make that impact. So I want to tell you a little bit about the Foster community, just because I mentioned it is so important to us here at Foster. Many of our alums are still in the area because they've chosen to stay at companies that are in the area. And so there's a really rich alumni community here. We also have really strong ties to the business community. Like I said, Foster is the MBA program here in Seattle. And for companies who might not even necessarily have alums from Foster or leaders in the business world who didn't attend Foster, they are still wanting to be very involved in the Foster School of Business. And so, Foster is just an extension of the greater Seattle business community. Faculty are a big part of our community as well. One of the things I always talk about that drew me personally to join Foster was that I've never seen a program or a school work together the way that our students, our faculty, and our staff do. Really, everyone is here wanting to make a true impact and make a difference. Our student culture is really important here at Foster. We really want people who want to be an active member of the community and want to give back to the community. One of the ways that students do that is through our Challenge for Charity student organization. I've heard students say that's the one club that everyone is automatically a member of. We really expect our students to give back to the community. And our students have both put in a ton of volunteer hours and are also raising money for local charities. Students also get involved with clubs, MBA clubs, so they'll take on leadership roles, and those are affinity clubs that are a little more based on a certain industry, or there are social clubs as well. And Milagros, I'll stop here for a moment because I believe you're the leader of one of our student clubs.
Yes, I led the second year the Finance Society, which is the finance club at Foster. And it was a very interesting and rewarding experience. I loved it every second. I was part of the club since my first year, and along the way, I just realized I really wanted to take the leadership, and it was amazing. I got to network with a lot of alums and people in the industry in Seattle and outside, put together events that helped my fellow classmates. So yeah, overall, great experience. Happy to talk about it a little later.
Thank you. So needless to say, there's a lot of different ways to get involved here at Foster. I also want to mention a couple of things. You can see a photo here of our MBA huddle when we are back on campus, which will be back in the fall. Those football games will pick up, and MBA huddle is one of the events that takes place during sporting events. But I also want to talk about another member of our Foster community, significant others who we call Blue Dots. So if you're considering an MBA program and you're thinking about moving with your family, just know that the Foster community is more than just students. It really is the extended community. And so there are ways for our Blue Dots to get involved as well. One of the things that's really important to us here at Foster is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our Dean, Frank Hodge, stepped into the role 2 years ago, and one of the first things he did was create an associate dean of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we're really excited to have that role and to start to make more of an impact in this area. We've had a number of clubs existing with the MBA program. We have Diversity in Business, the Foster Veterans Association, Out in Business, and Women in Business. And so these are the clubs that are formed and run by current students. We're also partners with the Forte Foundation, with MLT, Reaching Out MBA, and the consortium. We also give scholarships through the Forte fellowships, I should say. We give Ramba fellowships, and we also give out fellowships via the consortium, and we're very proud to be member schools with all of these fantastic partner organizations. If you're not familiar with these organizations, I encourage you to take a look, just Google them, but they are fantastic organizations that support diversity within the business world and leadership. So we'll talk a little bit about our structure for the full-time MBA program here at Foster. So we call this a 2-year program. It's essentially 21 months in length. It is full-time. So when we say full-time, you cannot really work during the program. So classes take place Monday through Thursday and are typically scheduled 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then Fridays are set aside for our career services where you can focus on a career prep with our career management team. The way that our curriculum is designed is that the first year is our core curriculum. So everyone takes the same core curriculum together in lockstep, and it's very focused on the team in those first few quarters. So first quarter is fall quarter, winter quarter, and spring quarter. You change teams each of those quarters. One of the highlights of the first year of the program is a course called Applied Strategies. It takes place in the winter quarter. It's where students get to do a mini consulting project, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. One of the things that makes Foster different in terms of our curriculum is students are not required to share or are not required to choose a specific area of focus or concentration. So instead, you get to choose the classes that best suit your career goals. We do have specializations available if you choose to pursue that. And we're also a STEM school. And you could, if you want to pursue the STEM certification, you can do that as well. And so in the second year of the program, you're going to take electives that allow you to customize your degree as you like. Everyone participates in the summer internship between the first year and the second year. And so there's really fantastic ways to use that internship. Sometimes people will come off of that internship and realize, hey, that's not actually what I want to do in the future, or they'll realize they have some gaps in their skill set. And because of the way our program is structured, you're able to change up the courses that you take in the second year. So a lot of flexibility, a lot of ability for you to determine how you want to build your skills in the MBA program. As I mentioned before, we have mini clubs here at Foster, so over 20, so that's a great way to get involved outside of class. We have also tons of social events, community and volunteer service. And I'll pause here for a moment. And Milagros, what would you say like a typical day looked like in the MBA program, just in terms of class plus what's happening outside of class?
Yeah, so a typical day, I would say you probably walk in at 8 a.m. because you would have class at 8:30 more or less. As a first year, probably 2 or 3 classes a day, closer to 2. And in the breaks, team meetings to get ahead of like assignments, group assignments. And then after class, probably a club is having an event that interests you. So you will stay and then leave Pucker like around 7 more or less. That was like very typical during the first year.
Great, thank you. All right, so I mentioned the experiential learning opportunities and applied strategy. That's that mini consulting project that you take in the first year of the program, but we also have a lot of other opportunities through electives, through field studies. We also have independent studies where students can set up a project with a company, or if you want to do your own research, perhaps with a faculty member. We do case competition. So everyone does a first year core case competition as part of the core curriculum, but there are a lot of opportunities outside of just what's happening at Foster in case competitions across the US. And proud to say that our teams have frequently placed in the top 3 on those case competitions. We also have study abroad opportunities. So we have a short-term international study tour that's typically 2 weeks in length that takes place during spring break. Those locations change every single year. Although we haven't been able to travel this year, we did still offer these study tours virtually, and our students participated with companies in South Africa. So there were still great opportunities this year, though we expect to be able to pick those back up this next year. We also have global consulting projects available for students. And then this last opportunity, Board Fellows, is one of the programs I've heard students talk about and being a highlight of their program. So this is where students can apply to sit on the board of a nonprofit organization as a non-voting member. And so they're really able to help that organization solve a problem or work on a project and make a real impact there. Milagros, can you share really briefly what you did for your applied strategy project in the first year?
Yes, of course. I worked with Microsoft, and they asked us to recommend a couple or one feature to improve Office 365. So we worked during winter quarter on that, talking with different stakeholders at Microsoft, different teams. So yeah, that was our project.
Great, thank you. I'm sure we're going to have more questions about that in a moment. So I want to talk a little bit about our career services here at Foster. You may be aware that Foster has a really excellent career services team that helps our students. Last year, in the middle of COVID, we had a 94% job placement rate after 3 months. In the past, it's been closer to 98 or 99%, but you might imagine that it was impacted a bit by COVID. That is still number 1 of all top MBA programs. So we're really proud of the work that our career management team does to help our students. They have a very individualized approach when it comes to working with students. So they focus on competence, confidence, and connections, and really work one-on-one with students to achieve the goals that students want to achieve. So they'll meet with you one-on-one to do resume prep, interview prep. They also have different workshops. Lots of opportunities for networking and treks. And we also have a fantastic mentor program where students can apply to have a mentor who is in the C-suite and really learn from them. And so students, there's 2 years of the mentorship program. In the first year, a group of students, 5 or 6 students, will get connected with a mentor. And then in the second year, it's a little bit smaller group that will connect with a mentor. So really a fantastic program. We actually have a video on the website if you want to see a little bit more about that. And now admissions information, because I'm sure you have some questions as you prepare your application. So we have 3 deadlines for our full-time MBA program in October, January, or March. We recommend that you apply to the earliest deadline that you can with your strongest application. So you do want to make sure that you can submit your strongest application. And our last deadline for international students is January. So I just want to mention that. We have a holistic application review here at Foster. So every element of your application, everything that you submit is considered. So there's not one piece of the application that is most important. I want to encourage you to sign up to receive our event emails and application tips, and you can do that on our website. You can start your application profile in July 2021. If you visited our website recently, you'll see that right now the application is closed, and we're going to be reopening here in a few weeks in early July. When it comes to admissions, we do recommend at least 2 years of work experience. And the reason that we recommend that is we really want students to learn from each other in the classroom, not only from faculty, but from each other. And so we really expect people to come in and to be able to contribute some area of expertise. As part of the admissions process, we do invite competitive applicants to interview. This last year, we've done that virtually, and we expect to do that at least virtually in the fall, though we might be able to offer some in-person interviews. We are back on campus in the fall, but we're not quite sure yet if we're going to be able to host visitors on campus. So we should have more information about that in the coming months. So if you're thinking of applying for a fall 2022 start, preparing now is really important. I cannot stress enough how open we are to meeting one-on-one with you as you put together your best application. So you can connect with an admissions counselor, you can set up an informational interview, and you can talk about your application, things that you have questions about or concerns about, and we'll be as candid with you as we can so that you can submit your best application. We also try to put a wealth of information up on the website so that you have information of what to expect as part of the admissions process, but we encourage you to reach out with any questions. Getting to know Foster is really important, so attending events like this is very helpful, but I also want to stress that you can connect with students and you can connect with alums. And those are really great ways to get to know the program a bit more. You're going to hear, of course, from Milagros today, but if you have questions and want to learn more, again, I cannot express enough how important it is to get in contact with students and alumni. And then finally, I encourage you to sign up for email, like I mentioned, because we have admissions events that run through the summer, into the fall, and into 2022. So just touching briefly here about tuition and scholarships, you can see our tuition rate for this past year. It actually will not increase next year, so that'll be the same tuition rate. We both have in-state tuition and non-resident out-of-state tuition rates, and these are per year. So of course, you'll want to double that for the 2-year program. We do award scholarships, and scholarships are considered on a merit basis. You do not have to submit a separate scholarship application. You're automatically considered for scholarships with the materials that you submit for the MBA program. The past couple of years, we've had about an 80% award rate. And as I mentioned, we award consortium fellowships, Forte fellowships, Reaching Out MBA fellowships. We also offer out-of-state tuition waivers for some students. So just know that that is considered a scholarship as well. Just want to mention, Foster has a fantastic return on investment. You can see our #1 job placement in the US from Financial Times. #1 among top 90 schools, best salary and bonus to debt ratio from the US News, and Bloomberg Business Week, top US business school and top public school here in the US. So just want to mention that as I know it is an investment when you are considering an MBA program. Finally, I just want to point out a resource that we have on our website. Rankings are rankings. They give you some information, but not all information. I want to encourage you to check out the rankings calculator that Foster has put together, which brings together data from all the different types of rankings, and you get to choose the criteria that's most important to you. So I encourage you to check that out and choose those rankings that best fit what your goals are for the program. Finally, I want to just share with you our mission statement here at Foster. We foster leaders, we foster insights, we foster progress, and we are very much about our community, our culture, and making an impact. And so if you're looking for a program where you can do that, Foster is definitely the place for you. So Thank you so much for listening to my short presentation. My email address is up here. Just know that you are always welcome to reach out to me. Happy to answer any questions that you have. And Sadak, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much, Amber, for the very nice presentation. We do have a couple questions here. I suggest I just go through them, not necessarily ranked by topic or criteria, but yes, there are a couple interesting ones. For instance, the one from Jatin. So, according to him, Foster is really the place to be for tech recruiting. How does Foster help students who are more willing to transition into more niche sort of sectors like real estate or pharma?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer this question. Yes, you're right. We do see a lot of students that are interested in the technology industry, but we also do have students that are interested in more niche areas. The University of Washington actually has a certificate in real estate that our MBA students can pursue as part of their MBA program. And so we have had students pursue that. I will say sometimes students get a little swayed by the opportunities in some other areas as well. So they might initially come in with that real estate goal, and then we've seen some, opportunities with companies that are expanding within the area where students can kind of take on some opportunities there. We haven't seen as many students interested in pharma. We've actually seen a little bit more focus on what I would say is healthcare and people who are maybe moving from the pharma industry more towards into like healthcare and medical devices. So we haven't had as much focus on that, but I will say that our career management team is focused on helping the students achieve whatever their goals are. And so we don't try to put students into predetermined buckets. That's one of the reasons why our curriculum is designed the way it is. So,
all right, thank you for that. A question that is more regarding the admission itself. So, is there a minimum years of experience to be able to apply or to be able to be considered?
So we do not have an official minimum years of work experience, but we do strongly encourage that students have at least 2 years of full-time work experience before applying to the program.
That makes sense, yeah. Maybe you touched upon this already before, but just to reiterate, apart from internships, what are the opportunities that are there to make students get exposed to all sorts of international experiences?
Yeah, I'll share a little bit, and then Milagros, maybe you want to share a little bit as well. So we have actually an international business certificate that students can take along with the MBA curriculum, and the courses count towards both the certificate and that the MBA program. We have the short-term study abroad, but we also have a quarter-long study abroad program if students want to pursue that. And then we have some global consulting projects. One of those had to be paused this past year. Typically, students would travel to India and work with female entrepreneurs, but of course, we weren't able to travel this year. So we hope to pick that back up this next year. But Milagros, what have you heard of your classmates getting involved in, or what you might be able to share yourself?
I would say that covers most of it, but also in some cases, there are like independent studies with companies that want to expand abroad. So that could take the form of like an international experience, right? Independent studies are pursued by students if they want to, like they can just talk with the MBA program office to have that independent study during their quarter with the company they connected with and want to work with, and they will get credits for that. So yeah, I think that's all.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Couple more questions from the chat on the YouTube channel. Before going to the questions from the forum, I think the answer could be yes or no here. Do you accept students who have already an MBA?
I would say it depends. We know that some previous MBA programs are more theoretical in nature. And so for those MBA programs, yes, we would consider that. If you've already done the type of MBA program that Foster offers, a very immersive one, I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing another MBA program. I'm not sure that that would actually help you as much. But yes, for those ones that are a little more theoretical in nature, we do consider students to foster.
Makes sense. We talked earlier about the minimum set of years of experience that are required. Now I have the other question. So what is the maximum, or is there a cutoff age or an age that Foster would like to advise the applicant to rather look for an executive MBA or for other opportunities?
Well, first off, I'll say we don't consider age as part of your MBA application. We do consider your work experience. So in the past couple of years, our average years of work experience have been 5 to 6 years, but a range from like 2 to 15 years is typically what we've seen in the full-time MBA program. If you are at a certain level of your career, you may not find that a full-time MBA program is going to help you get to where you want to go next. So it's really thinking about what you want to achieve with an MBA program. So if you have more years of work experience and you're already at a senior leadership level, you might want to consider an executive MBA program instead, because the outcomes are just different for different types of MBA programs.
Yeah, absolutely. An interesting question from someone who seems to know more about Foster. So apparently in the past, you guys have maintained a very smaller classroom in comparison to now. Yeah, is this still the same? Is there some challenges now for international students given the COVID changes? Can you say something about this?
Yeah, I'll share from my perspective, and then Milagros might have something to share as well. Of course, COVID has been tough on everyone. Our intention was not to have to offer the program virtually. And so I think there are just challenges in that way. Though we haven't increased the class size, so we've kept those teams small, 5 to 6 students on a team. Last year's incoming cohort was 110 students. So that's like exactly kind of where we've seen it in the past. The previous year was 117. That was, I guess I should say pre-COVID, and we expect maybe 120 to 125 with this next year's cohort. But we don't actually have our official numbers until the program starts at the end of August. So we're excited to see the incoming class come in, but we haven't seen it's a major impact. We did see people have to defer last year, and we are working with people again this year who are impacted by COVID and are asking to defer. So, but in terms of the classroom experience, I'll let Milagros share.
Yeah, I think I really like our class size. It's very nice to finish the MBA program knowing everybody in your class, and not only that, but that faculty, career management, the admissions office, program office knows who you are by name, what you did, what you want. So that just like creates a really nice environment to be in. COVID was challenging. We started virtual university, but there were also some highlights of it, like you would be able to attend events that you maybe couldn't in person, that were like in another part of the world, for example. So that was like something. But yeah, like overall, the class experience just kept being good. People participating, professors encouraging participation. The discussions didn't really change. Were very high quality, just as in person. So that was my experience.
Thank you both for that. Since we're talking to Milagros, there are a couple questions for you here in the chat. So first one is, how was the living experience in Seattle?
I love Seattle. It's a really nice city. Like Amber showed in the first slide, the UW campus is very close to everywhere. Like it's within the city, and there's a lot of things to do. The weather right now during the summer is gorgeous. I'm blown away. It's really nice. And if you're an outdoors person, then this is probably one of the best cities for you, because there are so many beautiful hikes around here that you can go on, and the views are breathtaking. So overall, I really like Seattle. Yeah.
Great. And another one would be, yeah, if you could share some tips regarding the application process from your own experience.
Yeah, I would say try to put your best in every single item of the process. Like Amber said, it's I might get this wrong. It's like a six. You need to submit 6 different things, and each weight as much as the other. So the essays, yes, pour your heart and soul into that and show them who you really are as a person. I will say once the application is submitted, try not to stress too much about it. You'll hear back when they tell you you'll hear back. And I think the most important piece of advice is just to be unique. There's no going wrong when you really show who you are. So, and Foster is like the culture and the program. Well, they want you to do that. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd personally second that. I mean, I actually also applied to MBA programs in this past year, and I think that's the best advice. Just be yourself. Just try to convey your story as best as you can from all different angles. Try to reach out to as many friends as you can that know you. Don't get fixed on this first idea of the first draft you ever make. Get challenged. Be ready to be challenged, and yeah, just try to express that and make it better through time. So that's why it's important to start early. And since we're talking about admission, there's a nice question here. So what's the difference between recruitment in the first round, the second round? Is it historically better to apply in the first round? Perhaps Amber, can you touch upon this?
Yeah. I can't stress enough that you should apply when you have your best application ready. So it's not going to help you to rush your application for round one if you know there's something that you really need to work on. That being said, you know, I recommend applying to round one or round two. Round three is definitely much more competitive. We typically see our largest round with round two. But we, of course, admit people from all rounds. So again, you just want to put together your strongest application. And if you're wondering about anything, if you have a concern and you're wondering maybe about your undergraduate GPA, maybe it wasn't as strong as you would have liked, and you're wondering how you can address that, or you're wondering, should I take an exam again? You know, reach out to us, because we are happy to have a conversation with you and help you put together your best application. So there isn't a right answer when it comes to the round. It really depends on where you are in preparing your application. What I would just say is don't feel like you have to rush.
Yeah, that makes sense. Totally. Thank you for that. Couple other questions. So there's this question. I would ask it myself, so perhaps I will put it in here, maybe a bit challenging. So yeah, what is the difference between Foster and the other schools, and what makes it compelling?
Yeah, I'll answer from my perspective, but I think it's also really helpful to hear from students like Milagros. So from my perspective, I think when you look at MBA programs, we're all saying something pretty similar, right? We're talking about the outcomes for the program. A lot of us are talking about a collaborative community and making an impact. What I would say is I truly see this happening for all of our students here at Foster. And not only that, our students are helping each other achieve their goals. So I think if you are looking for a program is where you're able to make your own impact, but make an impact on others, you're really going to have that opportunity here at Foster. I can tell you again about all the resources here in the backyard, but to me, it really comes down to what Foster is all about as a program, and a community. And we really get strength from that. And you see it in our job placements and the success of our students in the program when they leave, and also the way that our alumni stay engaged and give back to our students. So that's my perspective, but Milagros, why don't you share as well?
Actually, Amber, I'll second that 100%. I was also going to talk about it when I heard the question. It's true. Like when you're a Foster, you live that collaborative culture. And I'll put an example. Like I have seen that very clearly when it's recruiting season, for example, and there's a group of people from the class that are interviewing for the same position. What we would usually do is we would prep together. We would have mock interviews together, behavioral interviews together. Because if you don't get the internship, you want another of your classmates to get the internship. So we would just work together very collaboratively. In contrast, I do have friends from other business schools that don't really take that approach, and they were kind of surprised when I told them that that's how we did things at Foster. So yeah, I second that 100%. It's probably one of the best parts of the student experience.
Thank you for that. Really, really helpful, I think. A question that is perhaps interesting now that COVID is getting reduced a bit in the US and where relaxations are happening a bit around the world. So can international applicants take a campus tour at this point, or is it planned in the near future?
Yeah, so I'll share what I know right now. So I'm actually on campus at the moment, but officially campus is not yet open. It's actually, we're still kind of in this hybrid format through the summer, but the campus is officially reopening in the fall. So you will be able to visit campus. I actually know prospective students who have come to campus because the campus is open. You could still, walk around and check out the campus. We just don't have many people on campus right now. So you can absolutely come if you want to come to Seattle in the summer. Like Milagro says, it is beautiful, gorgeous. You honestly, there's nothing much more perfect than a Seattle summer. But we're a little bit to be determined when it comes to what we're able to host on campus in the fall for prospective students. So we're planning for a mix of virtual events and possibly in-person events. That's all to say, though, yes, you can come visit campus. We're just not sure if we're able to open up the classes yet. The University of Washington has been on the forefront of COVID research, and so they have taken an approach that is very focused on the health of our students. And we're still waiting on some details for the fall to see if we can have prospective students come sit in on our classes. If we're not able to bring you physically here to campus, we're going to continue to offer those virtual opportunities. So more information soon.
All right, thank you for that. We just have, I think, 3 minutes left, so I'm going to just pick 2 or 3 more questions. Amber, any chance to contact you personally, or is there a link we can provide the people on the chat so that they can reach out to someone from the admission committee?
Yeah, so I'm Christy. If you wouldn't mind posting these, you can email me directly. My email address is Janke, AJANKE @uw.edu, and then I've also included our other email address, mba@uw.edu. That's our general email address. So if you want to set up an informational interview with a counselor, we are happy to do that, and just reach out to us there.
Perfect, thank you. And which one is going to be the last question? All right, from Paul. So Paul is asking if Foster views people who studied at the University of Washington as undergrads differently from those who didn't. Do they have any advantage in their applications?
We certainly love to see Foster undergrads apply to our program. There's not an advantage or a disadvantage. And I will say for anyone who's whether applying from UW or from other programs, it doesn't matter where you went to school. What really matters is, showing your academic performance, your growth there, and your holistic application. So your undergraduate experience is your undergraduate experience, but we know that you've grown since then. You have your career and other experience as well. So just know that's just one small piece of your application. But of course, we do love to see Foster alums or UW alums apply, and we've had them join the program, in which case they were called double dogs.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for this response. But most importantly, thank you for the whole session. It was really insightful, really helpful, I think, for for people tuning in and who will be tuning in. So thank you all also for everybody who watched us who will be watching us. If you liked today's session, please don't hesitate to hit that like button. Leave us some feedback if you want things to be changed for the next sessions, and have a great day, y'all.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.